Alright, so today I'm going to be showing you guys how to replace the clutch cover gasket on a dirt bike. This is my Yamaha 1985 yz80, and this, if you have the same bike, this is the part number. I got this off of eBay, so you should be able to use the same one. But first step on this exact bike, it might be different on your bike though. Right underneath here, right in there, there's a drain plug. And on this bike, it is a 12mm. I can only get it in with a wrench because the frame is in the way of the plug. So it might be different on your bike. I'm going to go ahead and loosen that, and I'll see you guys on the next step. Alright, so I just got the bolt out. I just drained the oil. So what I recommend is having a small container like this. I just used an old, this 2-liter soda bottle. You can use anything. If you have a little oil drain pan, that's perfect. I just don't want little enough to get underneath my dirt bike stand. But I also recommend having racks because I dripped a lot and I got a lot on my hands. So you can use normal ones you use in your kitchen. You can use toilet paper as long as you can wipe your hands. Because this is going to make everything a lot easier with it dry and not damp, because your fingers are just going to slip on everything. Alright, so next I would put the drain plug back in, not tighten it all the way. And then I'll see you guys on the next step. So the next step is to drain your coolant. So on my bike, it's just straight from the radiator. It's this tube. You just loosen this hose clamp. This is temporary. It probably doesn't have this from factory. So if yours is straight from factory, you'll have something different. Just drain all your coolant out of your bike, and you should be good. Right now I'm using this. I couldn't fit it under here for my oil, but I should be able to use this for my coolant. That is what I use for my oil. So just drain that, and I'll see you guys on the next step. Alright, so I just drained the coolant from my bike, and you should have done that step yourself. Now the next step is you're going to have to take this side cover off. So it's all these bolts all around it. Just make sure you get all of them, especially these two up here. You might forget these. This is attached to the cover. This will all come off as one, and it might spill some extra oil that came out from the engine, all because this drain plug underneath mine does not get all of it. It has some drips. So be ready for your drips. But when you take these bolts out, you have to remember where they came from. So what I recommend, taking a piece of cardboard like this, and every single bolt you take out, mark where it went by putting a hole into this. Or you can put it where it is. So for this one up here, I would just put a hole right here and I'd stick it through. And I would do that with every single bolt so I don't forget where it goes. That is the best way to do it. Or you can just lay down a piece of cardboard, cloth, anything, so you don't forget where each bolt goes. Alright, see you guys on the next step. Alright, so I just took out all the bolts from the engine cover. Now this is all the main one right here, all in the circle. Not this and not this, because these two I put onto a separate one like this. So what I did here is these two right there, these are the top ones. Then these four right here, that's these four. I didn't do a very good job of making it look great, but on this one I did, because if you look here, it goes around in a circle. I would go around in a circle, like this little bolt, that is this one right here. So make sure that you guys do this so your bolts do not get mixed up, because if you do that, your engine could not be very functional anymore. Alright, so I'm going to take the engine cover off. I'll see you guys when I take it off. So after you get the case off, on my bike specifically, as a kickstart shaft, yours might not have it if it is a newer bike. Except you kind of want it to be in here, and you don't want it to come out, but that decided to come out. So it's going to be a little pain because this on this bike cannot come off very easily. I could probably get it off, but it's just going to be pain. So on this bike, if we cannot get it on because of that, and if you can take the brake lever off, do that. If anything, lay the bike on its side or take the motor out. And it's just going to make your life so much easier, and you're not going to be stressed out with trying to get the kickstart shaft back into the hole that it's supposed to be in. Because with that kickstart shaft, it goes in here, and you have to put these little springs right here into a certain area, then it's just annoying. So just make sure the kickstart shaft normally stays in the motor and not with the case. Also, make sure, I wouldn't take this cover off, the one that goes right here for your coolant, because that has a gasket. I still have the gasket on here. It's still pretty good condition, so I'm going to reuse that. But yeah, use this trick. and make sure this is just all this. We might have to pull the motor on this bike, but well, I'll see when that happens, if it does. Alright, so the next step and everything is to get the kickstart shaft probably back into the bike, or you can kind of just try and finick it in here. It's kind of hard though with the mesh, and also to get it in correctly. What I did is I kind of have the spring in this thing kind of just like that, and you kind of just have to jam it in there. It's gonna take a couple tries. It's gonna be a little finicky every time, but it should go in eventually, so just keep finicking with it. It should go in. See you guys in the next step. Get the kickstart shaft back into this bike. This spring right here, you want it down over in that hole right there, the one in the middle. So that spring kind of right there, you can grab it with vice grips, pliers, have a screwdriver to kind of push it out, and you just have to try and get it in there. It's gonna be in pain, but it should be able to go in. Alright, see you guys in the next step. Alright, so we just got done putting the kickstart shaft in. It wants to be behind this gear right here. So whenever it kicks it kind of moves the gear out, then it starts it so it's not grinding whenever it's running. Also, I'll put this bungee cord here to get the brake lever out of the way. Also, one thing you gotta do after you do that is you have to clear all this stuff, like from the old gasket and all this dirt and everything out of it, so the new gasket can stay on there as best as it can. Alright, see you guys on the next step. So make sure that you guys clean this cover side as well. Make sure you push outwards on when you're cleaning both sides, kind of just like this. You can do it with a paper towel, anything, a rag. Just make sure that there's nothing on here. That'll kind of get sucked up into the motor and clutch and all that. Alright, see you guys on the next step. Alright, so you guys want to make sure you guys use some gasket maker. You can use this with your normal finger, glove. I used a glove. And you just want to make sure you go around the entire edge of this, because this holds and seals the gasket better when you put it on it and when you put it onto the bike. This will help you so much, and there shouldn't be any leaks with all this stuff on. You just want to make sure you coat it, the entire thing, especially around all the nooks and crannies, just so it holds the gasket the best that it can. Alright, see you guys in the next step. So I have the gasket on. When you put this on with the gasket maker, you kind of want to press it down. And now the next step is you just take the engine cover, you line up all the holes, put it on, and you put all the bolts in. And you make sure finger tight them all before you start tightening them, because then it's just going to all be crooked and you might have to loosen some bolts. It's going to be annoying. Finger tight all the bolts before you tighten them, and don't over tighten them, because you might strip the heads or something, like you might do something. So just finger tight them and don't tighten them very much until, yeah. Alright, so see you guys in the next step. Alright, so I just got all the bolts on here. I didn't fully tighten them yet. I just took a 10mm wrench on this. I kind of just tightened them to where it started to have friction and it started to get harder. I stopped. So now it should stay on there. Now I just have to put this on there. Yeah, so this is the water pump pulley. Cover, sorry. And this goes on just like this. Just gotta move this little hose out of the way. Should be able just to slap around there with the same gasket maker on there. Also, one thing I advise if you have the same bike, these used to be Phillip head screws and they would strip all the time. So if you have Phillips on there and they strip, you're gonna have to take like vice grips, pliers, and take them off. And I recommend going to your nearest Ace Hardware or Riley's, Advanced, anywhere, and get actual like bolts. So it's going to be so much easier and they won't strip on you every single time you have to take off the cover. Alright, see you guys on the next step. Also, put these bolts in. And then if you use that, it's going to be really simple. Just bolt it in. Alright, see you guys on the next step. Get all the bolts sort of tight. What you have to do is, like, let's say you start on this bolt right here. You go from this bolt. I'd skip over to like here. I'd skip up to here. I'd come down here. Just so it goes on as even as possible, because if we tighten this all up here, this is going to leave like the gasket maker out, and there's going to be a hole in either the bottom or the top of it. So you want to go like 1, 2, 3, 4, and yeah, I would do that with this one too, like 1, 2, 3, 4. These two, it's just 2 bolts, so just tighten those. Alright, see you guys in the next step. So I got all the bolts all tight, and also make sure you don't forget this hose clamp. But now I took off the peg and I took off the Kickstarter, so now that's what you're gonna have to do. So the peg, you just put it on there, you just put the nut back on it, and same thing with this. You just put the Kickstarter, which is somewhere here. So you just grab this, you just slap it on there, and you just tighten it. Alright, see you guys on the next step. Alright, so I just tightened all this. Make sure you tighten the drain plug as well. Do not forget that. I have all these together. And the last thing I have to do is just put this spring back up onto the brake lever, which I might just leave the bungee cord there and put it on there. Yeah, it's all finished. Next step is just to put some oil and antifreeze into it, and it should be ready to start. Alright, see you guys when I have it started. Alright guys, so I just finished all this. Alright, so the drain plug is tight. I have oil, I have coolant. It should be ready to start. So I'm going to pull it out and I'll get a video of it running for anybody. And also, if you want to know what oil to use in this bike, it is 10W40. I just use this stuff. And yeah, it should be all set to go. Alright, see you guys when it started.